pleased to be visiting today with Dr. Cheryl Selman. Dr. Selman is the author of the two internationally best-selling books, What Women Must Know to Protect Their Daughters from Breast Cancer, and Hormone Heresy, What Women Must Know About Their Hormones. Dr. Selman, you concentrate on a number of myths in your book, Hormone Heresy. And would you be kind enough to explain to us the things that women really need to know?
I'd be delighted. When I was investigating the whole story of women and their hormones, I really encountered a lot of information that actually quite shocked me. So let's begin by looking at the myths, because unless women have truthful information, it's really hard to make the best informed choices. And there is so much misinformation around our own body and how it works and what happens as we go through our life cycle. So the very first myth I'd like to start with is the perception that women's bodies are innately flawed. When I was doing my research, I came across a quote by Hippocrates, the famous father of modern medicine. And Hippocrates said, he actually rhetorically asked the question, what is woman? And answered, disease. So we have had a long history, I would say 2,500 years, if not longer, of being perceived as having a body that was innately flawed, predisposing us to a range of illnesses and health problems and affecting our emotions and capacity to function and mental stability in the world. And that was by far a prevailing belief that has actually existed up into present time. It's the myth that women are innately flawed. The truth is that women actually have a phenomenal body. We have this capacity to be healthy and vital. In fact, we live a much longer and healthier life than men. And our female nature, in a sense, predisposes us to have a greater sense of intuition, to have an ability to be much more attuned to ourselves, our inner world or outer world, and actually to remain healthy and vital through all stages of our life cycle.
Well, that's pretty interesting. What are some of the myths over and above that? What about myths about our hormones and the things that women are all supposed to go through and all supposed, to suffer through, and it's a foregone conclusion?
Well, as we continue looking at the myths, one of the biggest myths around women and their hormones has to do with the menopausal woman. Now, we are told at menopause it's a downhill slide. Everything starts to fall to pieces, that we stop making our hormones, that the ovaries quit, we no longer produce estrogen, and basically, as one renowned author who perpetuated some very tragic myths around women has said that at menopause, a woman becomes a caricature of her former self. And so women have carried this image that menopause is the beginning of the end of a fruitful, vital, healthy, juicy life. And in fact, that is such a big myth. The truth is that menopause is actually a time when a woman moves into a greater experience of herself, her power. She actually has greater access to her inner wisdom, her intuition. She moves into a time of owning her power. And along with this myth around menopause is the belief that instead of the decline, the prevailing belief that is a decline, what we now know is that the body is exquisite in its ability to support a woman through all stages of her life cycle. So in fact, our ovaries don't stop working at menopause. We don't stop producing estrogen. What happens is that we are shifting to another cycle of our lives, and this is our non-childbearing years, our wise woman years as it's called. Therefore, we reduce estrogen made by the ovaries by about 40 to 60%. But our ovaries really never stop producing estrogen, never stop producing hormones through our entire life. We also have backup systems. So in the case of estrogen, our backup system has to do with the adrenal glands, which help to make a bit of estrogen in our menopausal years. And then we have our fat cells. Few women understand that fat cells actually are able to make estrogen. So we are actually transitioning from one form of estrogen production in our premenopausal years to another form of estrogen production into our postmenopausal years. The other key hormone is called progesterone. In our menstruating years, we make it every month when we ovulate. When we release the egg, the sac that the egg is held in makes progesterone. We don't ovulate when we're in menopause, but again, the brilliance of the body is that we are able to make progesterone and progesterone-like hormones by our adrenal glands in our postmenopausal years. So we actually are able to produce the hormones we need to support us in being healthy and functioning at our highest potential through this transition and on into our elder years.
That's interesting. I think more and more women believe that so many things are inevitable that you talk about relative to the wonderful life you can live when you're, educated. We appreciate you coming in today. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be with you.